This is All India Radio. In the program Spotlight, now we bring you a discussion on political developments in Rajasthan. The participants are Anand Mishra, political analyst, and Neelab Srivastav, journalist.
A political crisis has been brewing in the Congress party establishment of Rajasthan, where the party is also in power, with supporters of Chief Minister Ashok Gehlot on one side and senior leader and former PCC chief, also the Deputy Chief Minister Mr. Sachin Pilot on the other. The Congress, as we all know, has about 108 MLAs in the assembly of 200 in Rajasthan. And over the last 24 hours, including this day where fast-paced developments were taking place, we have seen that AICC observers Mr. Mallikarjun Kharge and the Rajasthan in charge of Congress party Mr. Ajay Makan reached the state. But their efforts to meet the party MLAs went in vain. They were wanting to meet the CLP or the Congress Legislature Party members, the MLAs. Also, we now understand that the senior party leader and former Madhya Pradesh Chief Minister Mr. Kamal Nath is now stated to be brought in by the Congress High Command to broker a truce and end-to-end stalemate in the Congress party in Rajasthan. Mr. Mishra, we have seen some sort of these developments in 2020 when the power tussle between the two most prominent leaders of Congress in Rajasthan, Mr. Pilot and Mr. Gehlot, had taken place. So now, is this the same crisis that is perpetuating, or this time this needs to be seen from the prism of the soon-to-be-held Congress president elections, in which Mr. Gehlot is believed to be attempting to try his luck?
Nida, if we look at the development closely, one thing is very clear, that while the Congress High Command wants a leadership change, and while there are two contenders for power in Rajasthan, Mr. Sachin Pilot and Ashok Gehlot, clearly the largest number of MLAs are with the incumbent Chief Minister. So what baffles me in such a scenario where nearly 90 MLAs have revolted against any change, how feasible will be any change? Even if a change is brought about with the intervention of the party high command, will that change work in the long term, especially in a state where polls are scheduled just a year away? How beneficial this kind of forced change will be? Because clearly Mr. Sachin Pilot's rank of supporters is not swelling. In the last 2 years since he has rebelled, I don't see larger number of MLAs joining his pack.
At the same time, Mr. Mishra, we see that the Bharat Jodo Yatra, which is being undertaken by the Congress party and led by its former president and the MP from Kerala, Mr. Rahul Gandhi, this is now something that is ongoing. And in this connection, when these kind of developments happens in states where Congress party is in power, is there a context or is there an effect that you see vis-a-vis the forthcoming organization elections in the party, which are very crucial?
Yeah, clearly, Srila, this incident would not have come at a worse time for the Congress party. It comes in the midst of very important yatra being taken by party face Rahul Gandhi to unite the party to strengthen the organization. So, and organizational elections are also underway. So all the three major events, change of leadership in Rajasthan, the organizational elections to elect Congress new president, and this Bharat Jodo Yatra, all three were going on simultaneously. One clear impact of this high political drama in Rajasthan that I can see is possibly Mr. Gehlot may not be the Congress president pick now. Because after such an embarrassing open turf war played out in Rajasthan, it will not send a good message to the rank and file. So I feel that Mr. Gehlot may not be the Congress presidential nominee now.
Mr. Mishra, you have seen the Congress party over the years, the kind of organization politics and the kind of things that have happened. Also in the context of the 2020 incident, a similar thing happened in the claim for chief ministership right after the victory of the party in the 2018 election. How does it happen in the Congress party? Where do you see this going? Because it is very important from 2 points of subject also, because now that the party also is in power and the governance may suffer, and also the fact that the Congress party is in power in 2 states largely of Rajasthan and Chhattisgarh.
That's a very sad scenario for the principal opposition party, in the sense that we have seen this playing out time and again. We have a situation where the young men in the Congress are in a hurry and the old are not ready to vacate their well-entrenched positions. This is not the first time. If you recall correctly, Anila, in 2018, Congress won 3 assembly elections in Madhya Pradesh, Chhattisgarh and Rajasthan. They lost one state owing to this power tussle because Mr. Kamal Nath and Mr. Jyotiraj Scindia could not come to common agreement, and the internal sulk continued growing, and finally Mr. Scindia walked out of his band of supporters and the government failed. The veteran Mr. Kamal Nath and Mr. Digvijay Singh could not hold the government. They could not prevent the damage that occurred to Congress regime due to the revolt of Mr. Scindia. Whether the same scenario will play out in Rajasthan, that remains to be seen, because there is one difference, that unlike in Madhya Pradesh where the party MLAs were clearly divided in 3 camps and 2 leaders have joined hands, these are 2 versus 1 scenario. In Rajasthan, we see by and large, Mr. Ashok Gehlot has the backing of the majority of MLAs. How effectively Mr. Gehlot can bring the party back to power again in 23, that's a different subject because there is an aging leadership, and many believe that when Congress came to power in Rajasthan in 2018, Mr. Sachin Pilot's whirlwind tour of the state, his eclectic, aggressive campaign in entire Rajasthan, that are also a key factor. So if Mr. Pilot is sulking, Mr. Pilot to the different parts, he starts inflicting damage on the Congress prospects, then it becomes a very ugly scenario for the party before 2023. But for the time being, clearly the majority of MLAs are with Mr. Gehlot. So when the majority of MLAs are not willing to accept the leadership of somebody else, and when Mr. Gehlot is not ready to vacate the chair, I'm really confused what is the target of the party's central leadership. Because I see a parallel, though the context will be different here. The supporters are largely standing behind an aging Mr. Gehlot. I'll just take you to South India. When after Mr. Y.S.R. Reddy's death, the majority of MLAs wanted his son Jagan Mohan Reddy to be chief minister. But Congress High Command was clearly not amused, and a lot of senior leaders from Andhra Pradesh, they also did not want the son to be handed over chief ministership on a platter. So Congress High Command intervened and denied Mr. Jagan Mohan Reddy the chief ministership, despite the MLAs wanting him. What happened later that Congress was obliterated. Mr. Jagan Mohan Reddy came back to power in the state, though he took some time. But Congress, in the process, in this internal fight, Congress lost the entire state. The worry for the Congress is that should it risk becoming irrelevant in a state ignoring the viewpoint of majority of MLAs.
Rajasthan, Mr. Mishra, has the electoral battle is largely between two political parties, the BJP and the Congress. It is either the Congress in power or the BJP. Now, all these developments, we have something of the same sort happening in 2020, the power tussle between the two top Congress leaders of the state. Now this is happening, and we are now entering into the phase where elections are due at the end of 2023. So how do you see the role of the electoral politics and the role of BJP in this entire political scenario? And also the fact that every party, while the BJP will want to rip the state from Congress, the Congress would want to keep it again with it and probably increase its tally. I'm sure it will want to increase its tally. So how do you see this political thing panning out across Rajasthan?
Clearly, BJP has all the smiles now. So for right now, Congress seems to a serious crisis. I don't know what happens after 2-3 days, whether Mr. Gehlot managed to convince the band of supporters that look, enough is enough. The leadership change is now almost certain. So let us make way for a new leadership. Or Mr. Sachin Pilot realized that the majority of MLAs are not backing him, despite his very clear good relations with the High Command and a section of MLAs were wanting him to see as chief minister. The fact that majority of MLAs are not with him, so he withdraws his claim. Otherwise, if this divide continues or deepens, there is clear problem for Congress in 2023. This is a scenario which is playing in other states also. If you look at Chhattisgarh, the Chief Minister, Mr. Bhupesh Baghel, and Mr. T.S. Singhdev, one of the senior most leaders of the party, they are not seeing eye to eye. There is some talk of an earlier formula of rotational chief ministership, which is perhaps not being honored, but none of them are clearly saying it. But the thing is that both of them have given enough indications that they are not on the same page, and the likelihood of their working together to win the state is also very dim. We have seen Congress losing power in Assam in a similar manner when a young and enterprising Himanta Biswa Sarma, party strategist, wanted a change of guard in the state. It did not happen. He quit the party, and in 2016 BJP came to power, forming government in the first northeastern state. And after that, Mr. Himanta Biswa Sarma held BJP's footprints in the entire northeastern region after the formation of NEDA. And in 2020 elections, BJP again won the election, led by Sarvanand Sonowal in the state. But they managed to carry out a leadership change so smoothly. And Himanta Biswa Sarma became chief minister. Mr. Sarvanand Sonowal withdrew his claim, and later he was sworn in central government as union minister. So that is one surprising element, that how smoothly BJP managed to effect changes. We've seen BJP having changed 2 chief ministers in Uttarakhand just before polls, and there was no controversy, there was no fight. On the contrary, whenever Congress tries to make a change, it finds it very difficult. So this kind of ugly spat comes up. This is also a reflection on the leadership. Clearly, the High Command influence on the rank and file is waning. Perhaps the fact that they have not able to win election is also telling. Unlike Modi and Amit Shah hold on BJP now, the contrast is that Gandhis are not being able to bring in unity among the warring factions, and leaders in this state are not willing to rest with their claims.
While nothing can be said with certainty in politics, no one can bet his last coin onto what will happen this way or the other. Mr. Mishra, what could be the likely scenarios of the present power tussle that is happening in Rajasthan right now?
Congress is going to lose Rajasthan because it is very clear from the developments that have unfolded that the organization is with Mr. Gehlot. So while the election of a new leader, young energetic face like Mr. Sachin Pilot may enthuse the cadres and may also have some resonance with the voters in the election, the fact is that if the entire organization is not wanting him, or if the majority of MLAs are against his becoming the chief minister, then he will find it very difficult to carry on the election related work in 2023. We have seen a similar scenario playing out in 2013 for Congress in Madhya Pradesh, when Congress had declared Mr. Jyotiraj Scindia as its campaign committee chief, clearly the CM face. Mr. Scindia was CM face, the entire organization was in the pocket of Mr. Digvijay Singh. And the supporters of Mr. Digvijay Singh and Mr. Scindia did not work in tandem, and Congress failed to make a difference. Mr. Shivraj Singh Chauhan won the election for third time for BJP. You can see a similar scenario here, and moreover, Rajasthan is a switch state. So after 5 years, the voters in Rajasthan changed the government. So having a repeat government is already a very difficult thing in this state. And if the party is such a divided house, then it's very impossible. So if Congress has to win the election, some sort of agreement has to be arrived between the two. Because this is a state where you don't have multiple CM faces. There are many senior leaders, but clearly if the Congress has to go to election, it has to go to election with the face of either Mr. Gehlot or Mr. Pilot. I see it's a very tough scenario playing out for the Congress leadership as well, because both the leaders have taken their respective positions and I don't see any of them budging.
You have seen the Congress party, you have reported the Congress party up close, Mr. Mishra. You have seen various developments concerning the grand old party. Somewhat away from the Rajasthan politics now, I understand that this is coming at a time when the organization elections in the Congress party and due, and much is being talked about it. While Mr. Rahul Gandhi has himself said that he is non-committal, he has not said that he is in the race for the Congress chief. But we've seen Mr. Shashi Tharoor and Mr. Gehlot throwing their hat in the ring. So how do you see this panning out and having an effect on these elections? Because after all, whosoever becomes the Congress president and has organization under its command will also see whatever happens in the states that are going to pool the next year.
Nila, one thing is very clear. I can see that Mr. Gehlot may not be the Congress candidate for Congress president now. Because after this bitter war, it sends a very wrong signal. This spectacle is not good. Mr. Gehlot has been a loyal soldier of the party and of the Gandhi family for a long time. And clearly the leadership did not expect this kind of rebellion to be playing out in the state. Mr. Gehlot has been denying all along that he has any role behind it, saying that MLAs are not listening to him. And clearly he has no hand behind it. But common logic defies this. Meeting took place at the residence of a very close associate of the Chief Minister. This is beyond imagination that he will risk his political career by doing this without his consent. I don't see he being a candidate now.
With all these scenarios in mind, Mr. Mishra, keeping the pot boiling still, as I said, that the Congress president has now sought for a written report. Is this usual for the Congress party president to seek for a written report? And is this usual that the observers which are sent from Delhi by the High Command are not met by the MLAs of one particular faction? Is this something that has happened in the past in the Congress party also? Or is this something that you're seeing very new and this is something to do with something more than that is meeting the eye?
Not long before we have seen a similar scenario playing out in Punjab when the then Congress Chief Minister Captain Amrinder Singh and his supporters clearly spoke against the AICC General Secretary in charge for the state, Mr. Harish Rawat then. In Rajasthan, we don't have such a scenario because either it has to Congress or BJP which has to win the election. The best formula for the Congress party would be to find some sort of middle ground and make Mr. Gehlot and Pilot sit together. Maybe they delay a final decision about the leadership change in the state for some time. Maybe Mr. Gehlot takes a few steps back, realizing well that whatever state he may play, but he can't have a scenario in which MLAs are rebelling against the leadership decision or MLAs are rebelling against any leadership change.
Thank you very much for sharing your points, Mr. Mishra.
Thank you, Nila.
You were listening to a discussion on political developments in Rajasthan. The participants were Anand Mishra, political analyst, and Neelav Srivastav, journalist. This program is produced and presented by the News Services Division of All India Radio. You can listen to it on a mobile app, News on AIR. This program is also available on our YouTube channel, News on AIR Official.